started. If everybody can just start coming around.
Bienvenidos coming out here and helping us of our soldier, I would like for us to are honoring the COVID. So prayer that we're gonna introduce. Father, give you honor and glory for allowing por permitirnos reunirnos. Gracias por las madres que nos comportarnos y cómo ser personas. Our mothers that have taught us how to be. We thank you that you brought us and you says different locations. Purpose, Lord, to bring honor and glory. For your protection, we thank you for your men for gathering us here for justice. Yours, and it'll be done. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. I want to at this time enter League of United Latin American Citizens. Garcia.
I'm honored and proud to be here today of Private Vanessa Guillen to serve our country. Vanessa, we are Vanessa, became about how to deal with the issue women in the Army and in our military. If we can find a silver lining, it is today was filed in Congress. Make sure that that becomes the law. And every man who serves our country, they are being harassed or threatened or abused, and that they will not be punished. Never another Vanessa Guillen tragedy. And we look forward to working with LULAC. Did meet with the Secretary R.P. McCarthy, independent panel that investigates not just with Vanessa, but with other cases. Today, and she'll speak a little bit, are followed by the commanders here at basis. Because in the end, anybody's daughter. Vanessa could have been, and Vanessa deserves it in a way that we know not only didn't get here at Fort Hood, but the there to protect other women, and that we continue it's not forgotten. And we are going to be meeting with the new secretary, the first woman to be named secretary to deal with these issues, and we'll also meet with them in the next 2 weeks and continue their the Guillen family. I'd like to, who is the cousin of Vanessa, who's here. Mrs. Guillen will be calling us here in about 30
family members. I am very proud and very people out here, especially that are not family, like family, because such an important cause that is not forward. We can't be scared. They want us to feel scared. And enough's enough. And we got that's a good way to so it should be kind of appreciation because she for us. And because unmask for her. So justice for all.
And we also have Vanessa Garcia, who has a little family.
Un placer y un privilegio estar aquí here with a member of the Guillen family. His memory will always be with. So on behalf of the Dallas County Dr. Elba Garcia, I have a proclamation, and it's a long have it today, and I'm just going to say, whereas today, as again after a year of her disappearance, ensure that no more victims or fear. Alguna que vamos a seguir trabajando para que nadie ni a pasar en silencio. Therefore, be resolved that Dr. Elba Garcia officially proclaimed April Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen is a raise awareness and support other military victims. Muchas gracias.
Seguimos para adelante con la lucha, pero sabemos que podemos ganar. At this time, Ana Luisa.
We are in the to introduce to you our mayor.
For inviting me. It's truly and a privilege to be here and to have. I'm going to go on and offer this because I want to make sure today to let everyone know. In our thoughts, to pray for her family. Still remember Vanessa Guillen. That I can say such a loved one. That's has passed. I know it's been not been forgotten. Most of us living here in Killeen, we are a community. Our soldiers, when they give, no matter what condition. Vanessa, she made a tremendous impact on our community, in our nation. Years to come, so change policy, movement to bring love, and that is how she will always community saw and we continue to see for her. That is an expression of love for Vanessa, even though that great family. So today, this sister and this fellow soldier from an early was to serve, and somehow that we let her down. So as we celebrate the life of Vanessa, we can only give thanks to God. Wonderful person of this world. Only a short time. From now on, in our hearts, throughout this nation, we will always be protected. So with that said, I want to express to everybody here our commitment to make sure that we never forget about Vanessa, that we never forget. This serves as a reminder of someone special. We continue to offer our condolences, our prayers to this great family, and she will always be in our hearts. So with that, God bless you. God bless everyone here. God bless her family. And thank you.
¡Viva Vanessa! I have the honor of introducing Mr. Roman Palomares. He serves as the National President's Chief of Staff, is also the LULAC National Chairman of Military and Veterans Affairs. He's a retired federal executive and Vietnam-era veteran who served proudly in the United States Marine Corps. Welcome, Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Ana Luisa, and thank you for all the work you've been doing here at the league. So on behalf of the LULAC Military and Veterans Affairs Committee, it is our honor to have sponsored this event today. As we celebrate the life of Vanessa Guillen, she is the ultimate patriot, because she gave her life, and that's what we call patriots. She gave her life up. As I was driving here today, I can remember almost a year ago when I received a call from Myra Guillen. She called, and that's Vanessa Guillen's older sister. She called LULAC. I took the call, and she said, we need LULAC's help. We're not getting anywhere with the military, and we need LULAC's help because we know y'all can come in, and we know that y'all know how to raise a little hell. So one of the first things we did is we contacted Senator John Cornyn. I remember writing a letter that afternoon, and we asked him that we wanted a congressional investigation, and we wanted the FBI to come in and help us. And he said that he would do that. The following day, I talked to our national president, and he says, I'm going to do a press release, but I'm going to come down heavy on the Army. He said, do you think we should make certain comments? And I said, well, we're known for making comments, but if you make these comments, you're going to get somebody's attention. And he said, one of the things that he said is that we could no longer entrust the Army with our children who joined the service. Well, let me tell you, he got attention, because 2 days later on a Monday, the Secretary of the Army calls him and says, I want to meet with you. Let's talk about what you're saying, because we need Hispanics to join the military, and you're telling the parents not to allow them to come to the military. He invited him to go to Washington. He had his comments prepared, and he said, this is what we want. We want this to stop, and we want an investigation as to what happened. And we need to start see where Vanessa Guillen is at. The Secretary of the Army made a big promise, and he says, we are going to conduct an investigation. I'm going to put a panel together to go to Fort Hood and do a major investigation. Our national president says we'd like to have a couple of LULAC members on that investigative panel. And the secretary said, send me some names. And we did. And we were able to get two female members from LULAC that were represented on a 5-member panel to conduct this investigation. But before I introduce one of those panel members, I do want to say that we still have a lot of work to do. Our national president just said that they are in the process of introducing the Vanessa Guillen Act. This act, which is very similar to an act that was introduced about 4 or 5 years ago with Senator Gillibrand from New York, basically said some of the same things. And that act was not passed because of 2 or 3 senators that did not go along with it. So here we are again, 4 or 5 years later, and our work is starting. Even though they're going to introduce the act, we need your help. And the help is that you got to contact your congressman, you got to contact your senators, and you got to make sure that this bill is passed. There's going to be some language and other things that are in that bill that we have recommended. And as far as I know, they're going to be in there. But the point I want to make is that our work is just starting, and we can't let up. We cannot let Vanessa Guillen down, or the family down. We have got to make sure that this is passed. I do want to, before I step off the podium and introduce an individual, I do want to recognize just a couple of folks that have been working with us all year and who helped put this event together. We had a young lady come out from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who is part of our Veterans Committee. She is now in charge of our Vanessa Guillen initiatives, and she's also heading up a new initiative that LULAC is going to roll out next month, and it's called SOS, Save Our Soldiers. Not only are our soldiers having problems in the military with sexual assaults, we're having young people that are committing suicide every day. We are still losing 20 military members a day. Some of them are Vietnam veterans, some of them are Afghanistan, Iraq veterans. There's a lot of young men that are in the service and women that are committing suicide every day. So I just kind of want to mention that. Be on the lookout. May the 25th, LULAC in Phoenix, we're going to roll out a major program. The other thing that I wanted to mention real quickly is that I have a couple of young ladies that came in all the way. I have one that came in from Virginia, Danitza James. I met her a while ago. Where are you, Danitza? She has started an organization. They're going to be doing counseling, especially with female veterans and military types. So I wanted to recognize you. Thank you for coming. I also have Stephanie Collada, who came in from Florida. There she is back there. They're working very closely with Crystal Romero, who came in from Albuquerque, and what their work is doing legislative type work. They're going to be working very closely to make sure we pass this legislative bill. So I'd like to introduce one of the panel members that conducted the investigation. She's a LULAC member. She served in the military 20 years. She was in the Marine Corps. Hoorah! Where is she? So I want to introduce Keta Rodriguez. Will you please come in? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Primeramente, le quiero dar las gracias a la familia de Vanessa Guillen. Gracias por todo lo que han hecho. Y les quiero decir que ahora y siempre, en este día que es el aniversario de Vanessa, de cuando se falleció, están en nuestros pensamientos y nuestras oraciones, hoy y para siempre. Muchas gracias por todo lo que han hecho, porque no estuviéramos aquí si no fuera por los esfuerzos de ustedes. So, muchas gracias. I wanted to thank the Guillen family. Today is obviously a very painful day, but it's also a day to celebrate the legacy of Vanessa Guillen. You know, when Vanessa disappeared, as our national president just said, it sparked a movement. And Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for your comments as well. It sparked a movement. It inspired people across our country, men and women just like Vanessa Guillen, who had experienced something awful. And as a member of the Fort Hood Independent Review Committee, I have to tell you that being a part of that has been one of the greatest honors of my life. You know, obviously you just heard I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps. And as someone who has served our country, you know, I have a lot of pride in that service, like many veterans do, like people who are serving every single day. But we also have that knowledge of things that are wrong, of the failures in leadership. And so having the opportunity to come here to Fort Hood to do a really deep dive into the culture of Fort Hood, which we knew could have impact across the Army and across the military services. So that was an extreme honor for me. But I will tell you, every single one of us on that committee, we came in with a open mind. Most of us actually served in the military. We came in with an open mind, with just one goal in mind, and that was to find out exactly what was going on so that we can make the best recommendations possible to ensure that what happened to Vanessa and what has happened to many other soldiers doesn't happen again. And we tried our very best. And we're very grateful to then Secretary McCarthy and the Army leadership for giving us free rein to do whatever it is that we wanted, for giving us all their support. You know, we worried, I'll be honest, me in the back of my head, I had some, a little bit of hesitance. You know, I didn't know what to expect. Was the Army going to try to drive this in a certain direction? And I can tell you with 100% guarantee that they did not. They did not. They allowed us that latitude, that freedom, and gave us support. Nothing like this had ever been done. An independent review with people who are not in the military, not working for the federal government, not a part of any chain of command. So we had nothing to fear, and we had everything to gain as people who have served our service and want to ensure that we are taking care of our soldiers, our airmen, our Marines, our sailors, our Coast Guardsmen. That's what we wanted. And, you know, as a result of the time that we spent here, I will tell you it was extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult to hear stories, you know, of young women and young men who had experienced things that no one who raises their right hand and swears to support and defend our country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, no one should ever lose their life while here in garrison amongst people that are sworn to protect them. That should have never happened. And we wanted to ensure that that never happened again. And I will tell you that despite the fact that, you know, it is so very difficult to grapple with, right? Because nothing that we do will bring Vanessa back, and we know that. And I can tell you from the bottom of my heart that we feel that very deeply. As leaders, as people who come from communities just like hers, as a Latina, as a woman, we feel that very, very deeply. And nothing, we know that nothing will bring that back. I'm a mother. We have mothers across the country, fathers across the country sending their kids in. Nothing can bring her back. But I will tell you that she inspired so many. When we heard stories of women saying, we've never told anyone this, this was their chance. Vanessa did that. Her story did that. Her presence did that. And her family did that for not accepting anything but justice for her. That was an inspiration to women across the country, to men across the country who have also experienced sexual harassment and sexual assault. She did that, and for that we will forever be grateful, and we will always honor her legacy. And I know much of the report centered around sexual harassment and sexual assault because it is an extremely unacceptable problem in our military. I joined the United States Marine Corps in December of 1991. Right around that time, we faced one of the biggest sexual assault scandals in the military, and that was tailhook. And here we are decades later still talking about these problems. But I will tell you that with this has been an impetus for what I know will be change. I know that change is coming. I am confident that change is coming. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard, and it's going to take all of us continuing to demand change for our military, change for our soldiers and our servicemen and women. We've got to stay on top of it. But not just for sexual assault and sexual harassment, for missing soldiers. Protocols have already changed. I will tell you that that what happened with Vanessa and her memory and her legacy has caused institutional change. And that is extremely important. That we no longer say, if a soldier goes missing, we're gonna wait 48 hours before we start to ask questions. Bullshit. We're not. Because as leaders, we're supposed to be taking care of them. We're supposed to be taking care of them, and that's what the military is going to do. And they've already implemented some of those changes. The structure of the sexual assault and sexual harassment, the SHARP program, the structural changes are also coming. And as you've probably seen in the media, and as I have kept up with some of the other members of our committee, we know that those changes are coming. And it doesn't happen overnight, and it can never happen fast enough, because if one more person experiences sexual harassment or sexual assault, or one more person goes missing and we're not doing something about it, then shame on us. But I know that those changes are coming. I'm very confident. I can tell you, meeting with the Secretary of the Army and the Chief of Staff and Army leadership, they felt it. How could you not feel it? If people all across this country were touched by that and moved by that, and feel, for those of us that have been in the military, I mean, let's be honest, right? We feel shame for that too, right? But you have to get angry, you have to feel emotion, you have to feel all of those things, and I know that they did. And so I'm very optimistic. Again, it's not easy, it's not gonna happen overnight. This is cultural change that needs to happen, but I am very optimistic that it will. And it's not just here at Fort Hood, it's across the Army. I've gotten calls from my friends up at headquarters Marine Corps. The Army has reached out to their sister services to make sure that this is going to have much broader impact than just here at Fort Hood. But one person, one young lady named Vanessa Guillen, Specialist Vanessa Guillen, a Latina from a humble family with a humble background, just like so many in our community that raise their hand to serve, that serve honorably and with distinction, just like so many of our young men and women. She swore to support and defend that Constitution, and she did. She gave her life for her country, because in order for us to have the greatest military in the world, we have to have the greatest soldiers, sailors, and servicemen, and we have to have the very best leaders, and this put all of the leadership across the Army and across the military on notice. Do your job, take care of your servicemen and women, take care of your young men and women that come in. Again, thank you so much. It is an absolute honor. Again, to the Guillen family, thank you, to everyone for all that you have done to demand justice, to ensure that no one forgets us and no one will. I'm just very, very honored to be a part of this. Thank you, of course, to Ana Luisa for all of your efforts here. You have been amazing, an amazing champion for this. To Roman and Domingo and all of the LULAC leadership. I'm so honored and grateful to be a part of such an amazing organization. Thank you so much for being with us here today. God bless you all.
Buenas tardes a todos de nuevo. La señora Guillen, la señora Gloria, no pudo estar aquí presente. Miss Gloria wasn't able to be here herself, but she wants to send a message to you all, and if you allow me, I'll put the microphone to the phone. Señora Gloria. Por favor, un aplauso por la señora Gloria. ¡Viva Vanessa! ¡Viva Vanessa! So we've been on this journey for a year. Starting May the 22nd. Gracias. For those of you who went with us to Washington, gracias. For those of you who went in prayer, for those of you who helped, for those of you who brought a case of water, for those of you who showed up today, gracias. That word is not enough to Wrap up every effort, every sacrifice, every tear. Every time the phone rang, you were looking and thinking, is this going to be bad news? Every time the phone didn't ring, you were checking to see what is new. What about the search teams that were going out? They were coming back a little scraped. They're wanting to bring Vanessa back home. We have service members that have dedicated their life to serving our communities, and we thank you. We thank you for serving with a spirit of excellence. Gracias. We have community leaders here. They want to let you know that you are not forgotten. That is because of you that we are pursuing for legislature. It is because of you that we can't put on BDUs, we can't put on these military uniforms, but we can get to writing our congressmen, our senators, our legislators. We can get busy doing that. That is our way to protect you. And this, not only the present service members, but all generations to come. That is your, they say the pen is mightier than a sword. So is your voice. So is your vote. Reach out to your legislators. Tell them to pass that Vanessa Guillen Act. Please. Everything else hasn't worked. This has to work. This has to work. I have the privilege of presenting to you the NAACP President, Ms. Hanika Driver Moultrie, Killeen Chapter. Standing in solidarity, we're stronger together.
On behalf of the Killeen Branch NAACP officers and members, good evening. As president of the oldest, boldest, and baddest civil rights organization in the nation, we stop by to say to those with a voice, stay woke, stand proud, and never back down from speaking your truth. The NAACP was founded on multiracial allyship and community organizing. Now, more than ever, we must stand together, united against all forms of racial injustice. An attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. Today, we stand in unity with you, humbled and proud to be members of Vanessa's Army. We join with you, arm in arm, in support of the I Am Vanessa Act. I don't understand what the holdup is or the holdback, but guess what? We are with you, holding on because we know change is coming. And no matter how long it may take, we will remain vigilant in the fight with you. Vanessa is speaking to us from the heavens, giving us the courage and the faith to fight forward. It should not have taken her voice, their voice, to be heard, and the countless others who are coming forward. What happened to Vanessa and others was disgusting and disturbing, and we won't tolerate it, period. Let me be very clear. The Killeen Branch NAACP is down with Vanessa's Army. In closing, as the NAACP, we say we can't rest now, but today we shout with you. La Viva Vanessa! La Viva Vanessa! La Viva Vanessa!
It's an awesome day when you have other organizations step in and say, I stand with you. It's amazing when somebody says, you know what? I'll help you carry that load. It's an awesome day. We stand stronger together, and we are Vanessa's Army. If you say you are Vanessa's Army, can I hear a Viva Vanessa? Viva Vanessa! Viva Vanessa! We are Vanessa's Army. We are Vanessa's Army. We're always going to be Vanessa's Army.
We will get justice for Vanessa. We will get that bill back.
Justice for Vanessa. Every Friday, we said justice for Vanessa. Today, this Thursday, we still say justice for Vanessa. Justice for Vanessa.
Justice for Vanessa.
Her fight, our fight. Her fight, our fight. At this time, our local LULAC chapter, Council 4297, Council President, Ms. Minerva Verdejo Cotton.
Good evening, good evening. Can I have Mr. Domingo Garcia come up and Eloisa Tapia and Crystal Hunter, please? This beautiful mural behind me has been taken care of day in, day out, night and day. When it was destroyed, they came and took care of it without even being asked. Can I have Sergeant Jermaine Williams?
Sergeant Williams!
Okay, so Sergeant Williams, along with Specialist Cervantes, who cannot be here, are being given the Keeper of the Lights Community Award in recognition of exemplary community service, community building, and commitment to the Vanessa Guillen Memorial Mural Council, District 17, and Rural Nation. Thank you for just taking care of it every day, even when you don't have to. Ms. Romero also has a presidential award for you.
I want to take a minute to tell you what it is to be an NCO. Sergeant Williams is the epitome of an NCO. He took it upon himself and he stood up and he said, I'm going to be there for you. He came on his own time, on his own dime, and he came and he fixed the mural when it was vandalized, not once, but twice. And he said, no matter what, I'm going to be there for you. And that is the true epitome of an NCO, a non-commissioned officer. And Sergeant Williams, we want you to know that we will be there for you. And we're very, very proud of you. And you should be very proud of yourself. And I know your commander is here, and I know your first sergeant is here, and we want to thank you also, sir, and first sergeant, for coming out and showing your support to your troops. Because that's what leadership is. That is true leadership. You show up for your troops, and you prove that today. So thank you so much for coming out, and thank you to all of you. And I will not forget, nor will I allow my comrades to forget, that we are true professionals, true leaders, and we're not going to leave Vanessa behind. She will not be forgotten. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Can you bless Cindy?
Sorry for the tears. I don't expect it to be acknowledged or awarded for any of my actions, to be honest. I just cried, I guess, because it's been a year. Still no truth. I know we all say justice for Vanessa, but I honestly just want the truth at this point. some of these men. I wrote in big letters, "We failed you as battle buddies, period, but we will get you justice." I live up to that every single day. Coming to this girl every night just to play one song of Martin Luther. I don't know. What really pushes me is that my wife is Ecuadorian, my best friend back home is Nicaraguan, my best friend is Bengali, my best friend is Korean, my best friend is white, my best friend is Haitian, my best friend is black, my best friend is Dominican. All my tias out here are Mexican, Mexicana. So, tu lucha es mi lucha. I live by that. I can only imagine my friends fighting with me just as hard, just as much. But this isn't about me. This is all about Vanessa. Like this fine woman said, get my first sergeant. While I'm out here, standing in solidarity of justice, not protesting. I'm standing in solidarity of justice as a brother in arms. I didn't have to worry about going back to a bad leadership. I had that good leadership. All this stood by me countless times. It drove me, to be honest. But I never had to worry about that. I was fortunate enough. Vanessa, she wasn't. All I can say is, I'm going to be leaving soon. I'm going to take Vanessa with me in my heart wherever I go. I'll be the advocate day in and day out. It's no thanks to me, it's thanks to all you guys for keeping her alive. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Annalisa, our local LULAC Council Presidents, and for everything you've done. And we're about to end the ceremony with a presentation, Amor Eterno, por Mariachi Pura Sangre de Javier Aguilar. Que suben los mariachis. Alex Padilla también.
No llores, las piedras jamás.
El atardecer, me iré de aquí, me iré sin ti. Me alejaré de ti con un dolor dentro de mí. Te juro, corazón, que no es falta de amor, pero es mejor así. Un día comprenderás que lo hice por tu bien, que todo fue por ti. La barca en que me iré lleva una cruz de olvido, lleva una cruz de amor, y en esta cruz sin ti me moriré de hastío. De que por mí puedas llorar, mejor será partir, prefiero así que hacerte mal. Yo sé que sufriré y nada cruzará un mar de soledad. Adiós, adiós mi amor, recuerda que te amé, que siempre te di a amar. La barca en que miré lleva una cruz de olvido, lleva una cruz de amor, y en esa cruz sin ti me moriré de hastío. La barca en que miré lleva una cruz de olvido, lleva una cruz de amor, y en esta cruz sin ti me moriré de hastío. abajo